It's time for the Bookie and the Bettor Show. If you're a sports fan, now it's time to play the odds and make every bet count. New episodes post every Thursday on your favorite streaming service. Now introducing Rob Kowalski, the Bookie, and Randy Wyke, the Bettor.
Welcome back to the Bookie and Bettor Show. I'm your host, Robert Kowalski. Of course, I'm joined here once again by my great friend, Randy Wyke.
I'm Randy Wyke.
Randy, of course, we're here away from our regular duties from Baldini's Casino. I am the operator at the Sportsbook. As the director, Randy, of course, joins us from all of his duties as the director of marketing at Baldini's. So thanks again for joining us.
And I want to tell you, the sports betting has been good, Rob. Sports betting has been good for this kid right here.
Define good. You're not
65% right now. I'm doing good the last couple weeks.
Stop. Come on. I can't start the show like this.
65% the last couple of weeks. Favorites are on a roll, buddy. Favorites are on a roll. Well, with the exception of the Dallas Cowboys. We'll get to that.
Why get to that? Let's just jump right in then.
What? You look at last week, going into week 2, first time in NFL history. First time in NFL history, 7 teams from the same conference, a national conference, went 2-0 in their first 2 games. First time in NFL history. What do you think happened last week? I think we have 3 total right now.
Right.
And you had 7 in one conference.
Yes, we did.
So upsets were galore. So you look at the Cowboys, obviously, the Ravens. Do we need to keep going on and on and on? It was a dismal weekend for the big chalks.
This absolutely falls right into my wheelhouse, which is chaos theory. I want chaos every week. And so I ask you this, right? Dallas beats the New York Giants by $100 million. New York Giants beats the Arizona Cardinals on a field goal late. So, of course, what happens? Dallas as a million-point favorite. You lose to the Cardinals.
Yep. And it amazes me the teams that are so sound that we were talking about 3 weeks ago, with the exception right now of the Eagles and 49ers. Are you confident with the Chiefs? And then you look at the Jacksonville Jaguars at home against the Houston Texans, and we're never really in the game.
Chaos. And so perfect. And then this obviously what I love focusing on when we talk about numbers inside the fields is how did we get there? All the injuries that add up, just how did it affect what happens on the playing field? And everything from a betting perspective, right? And so that's exactly what we had. Saints obviously now going to be without Derek Carr for a while. He doesn't look like he's going to be ready to go. In the time that we were last on, Saquon Barkley's probably going to be out. I don't think he's going to come back 100% ever. Yeah. Obviously, we already talked about the New York Jets and what they have to face. Their season's pretty much been cut clearly in half. And
Burrow, you're not sure? Really
Joe Burrow, not sure. He didn't really look like he was 100% on Monday night, especially pushing off of that calf. And Kelsey looks like he's back for Kansas City, and they definitely took care of business against Chicago, Randy.
Yeah, and again, when you look at the injuries, and injuries are going to tell a telling part this week, I think. When you look at not just the quarterbacks or the skill position players, but you look at the Minnesota Vikings line. Are they healthy enough to go? I see 3 or 4 more guys were banged up. I mean, and again, they can score some points, but they give up a bunch. But when you look at it in a competitive game, and again, I know we're going to talk about this a little later. You've got 5 or 6 teams. They lose this week. The season's over. You can start thinking about 2024.
That's actually true. So look, right. I want to go back to the Minnesota LA Chargers game. That one was as advertised, and of course, I think another key injury, shocker, Mike Williams. He's done. Yep. ACL ripped, and he's finished. So now Keenan Allen, and then obviously a cast everybody. Eckler's going to probably come back. I'm not sure if he's going to be 100% for this week, but let's take a look at this game actually right now, Randy. Minnesota, you know what? Instead of going with Minnesota, let's actually talk about the teams that are really in focus right now. Vegas, LA. So Chargers are going to be hosting the Raiders, 5-point favorite right now. Eckler maybe, Mike Williams definitely no. How do you break it?
And what do we know about the Raiders quarterback? Well, Jimmy G he's right now in protocol. Is that not correct?
That's why I'm looking right now. This game's completely in red. But if it goes as it is right now and Garoppolo plays,
here's the thing with the Raiders and Chargers. And again, these interdivision battles, if you look at the Raider-Chargers for the past history, it's a field goal game. The games are always close. So to open up, even though it's at Chargers are at home, a 5.5 point spread, that might be a little too high.
And actually the funny thing, and obviously you when we open up this number, we opened it up very early, and so this is with really unknowns. We actually opened it up 4. So 4, 4.5, 5, kind of all the same. Right. So it's kind of sitting right at that ceiling. I'm certain if this goes to 6, you know what's going to happen. Everything's going to be betting on the Raiders. So,
but traditionally, this is a field goal game.
Yeah, that's what probably end up happening as well. Randy, what jumped out for you as well?
Well, I'm looking at a couple of games. Obviously, we spoke a minute ago about the Ravens. The wide receiver position, with Beckham and those guys down, banged up a little bit. But the Browns being a 2.5 point favorite. I wasn't impressed with Deshaun last week. Ravens still have a great defense. Granted, they're on the road, another interdivisional blood battle. But to see them getting 2.5, that one kind of attracts me a little bit.
Shocker and update, you could actually get 3 now.
Wow.
So look, first again, what's the key to everything, right? And that's what the show's all about. Randy, they were stuck. The Ravens, they were stuck 7 starters against the Colts. 7. And they still took it into overtime. They really should never have been that close. I know on paper, Ravens should always be favored over the Colts, especially with a rookie quarterback. But everyone was injured, and especially the Ravens. They were stuck 7 players. So the fact that they even took it into overtime was very impressive. Now, coming to what we're looking at right now, they're still really not healthy. They're still short. Obviously, we already talked about there's no J.K. Dobbins on Baltimore, so there's going to be an awful lot of adjustments. Randy, we're in week 4. Half the rosters are already getting flipped. So defense notwithstanding, you know what their systems are going to be like. Does this game stay inside of a field goal?
Well, and again, Myles Garrett, I noticed today, they're basically saying Myles Garrett's going to get 3 sacks this week. So, again, you've got Lamar back there. A Harbaugh coach team will be competitive, and I'll put my bucks on that one.
Speaking of bucks, Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, nice little pickup. Big, lot of trades. Whether there's a 3-team trade.
There's 3-team trade. So I know this is literally we're off the cuff right now, but the trade happened. We have to talk about this.
Well, I like Damian Lillard. I think he's one of the best players in the NBA. And again, I would have loved to have seen him on the Lakers.
Look, it was never going to the Lakers. Well, he already said he wanted to go to Miami.
You like to dream. This is a good pickup for the Bucks, and I think it's good for him also.
Did we actually get any words yet from Lillard? Does he actually want to be in the frozen tundra of Milwaukee?
I have not seen a response from him as of yet.
What if he doesn't show up?
No, because he said he
wants Miami.
He said
trade me to the warmest place that I could play. What do they do? Talk about spite. I'm just seeing it the way I see it. Are you telling me he wants to go to Miami and they trade him to Milwaukee?
Like you said a couple of weeks ago, money does talk.
It's kind of fishy. I mean, look, obviously we had to move him to the favorite, the Bucks, that's to win the title. But it's just, I found it really, really strange.
I'm broken heart. And you know who else? The New York Knicks.
Come on, what are you talking about? The Knicks.
I know they wanted. They're interested at the beginning.
Yeah, but it's done. It's finished.
Well, it's a done deal now.
They'll finish 500, by the way, the Knicks. Anyway, we digressed shortly there. Okay. There's obviously we talked about in the earlier episodes, Randy. We looked at how to focus on a team to simply win. And look, from a betting perspective, if you pick a team to win, they're probably going to cover. However, the whole point of this is finding a pick to survive, to move on to the next week. Let's just take a look. Instead of thinking about what you've done in the past, which has already been just a landmine-filled field.
What? No, we need to back up. There was a couple of them.
Yeah. So, okay, great. You pick a couple of double-digit favorites and they win. Yes.
Okay.
I give you that.
Okay.
Couple of picks, yes. Who are the best choices to advance, irregardless of whether you took them or not?
Well, Now you got to go on the other side now. That pendulum's went far to the right. Cardinals again against the 49ers. Now, Cardinals are on the road.
Okay.
You've got to look for a little pasting, don't you, from the 49ers? Bosa's going to be coming. Warner's going to be coming. And the 49ers, with that three-headed monster that they can run with Samuel and McCaffrey and all these guys, you know they're going to be coming after them.
I would think that the vast majority of said pools will have upwards of 50% of the picks on the Niners this week.
So you got to like them number one, right?
Number one, yes.
And I think the number two play, again, now I've already taken these guys, so I can't really take them again.
Let's pretend you didn't.
Okay. I've got to go with the Cowboys this week. They were embarrassed last week. I know inside the offices there were some great little memes out there, cartoons of some of the stuff going on with the Dallas Cowboys. So you got to believe they're not going to play as bad this week. And again, along the same lines, they're at home against Belichick. And I got to go with Jacksonville if I can get a third one. Jacksonville was humiliated last week.
Wait, you would take Jacksonville to survive
I would.
in Wembley Stadium
Well,
with unknown weather.
I do, because they played so bad last week.
You love chaos, don't you?
I do, because you can't take the cream of the crop all the time. And now think about this. Jacksonville might be one of those teams that's on the cusp of their season ending, even though this is only their third loss. This might be a telling tale as to what's going to happen with them for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, forget about you know what? Actually, you're right. Any team that forget about starting 0-3 because you're probably already finished. If you go 0-4 or pick up a third loss and 4 wins, you could pretty much forget about the playoffs.
And look at the ideal situation this week. You got 2 games where both teams are 0-3.
Send them to the toilet bowl.
You might as well just put them out right now. Put them with the high school games on Friday night.
I don't know what it is, Randy. Maybe I'm just hungry. Actually, you know what? I am hungry. All this is just getting me really, really hungry. So I want a sandwich.
A sandwich?
Yeah.
During football season?
No, I want it right now. Actually,
right now.
like live
Right
during
now.
this. Right now, favorite sandwich. Actually, top 5 sandwiches right now. Give me your list right now.
Well, you got to go the Italian sub. Especially you from back east, right?
No, not about me. This is your list.
I love the Italian sub. Pastrami.
Is this in any order? Do we need like imaging?
No. Well, pastrami will be my number one.
So, okay.
A hot pastrami sandwich.
All right.
If you get the good pastrami or it's thick.
Yeah.
Oh, hot pastrami. You got to put French dip in there.
This is it. This is your list. Remember.
I got to have a steak sandwich. You got to have a New York steak sandwich.
Okay.
On there. And, I still like the club sandwich, the clubhouse. If you like a traditional Western type sandwich, you got to go with the clubhouse. And then I guess I would have to put a Reuben in there for my last one.
Can't believe you just
I didn't
said
take
those.
any burgers.
Oh, burgers on sandwiches.
Yeah. So I didn't put a burger in there.
Just so happens that I have my own top 5 list.
Okay.
It's right over here. Took this right off of robstop5sandwiches.com.
Ooh, and lobster again.
You can
That's
look it up.
that's
It's on
that,
the internet. You can actually go there.
That's
you
an
can see it.
East Coast.
Well, hold on.
thing. Okay.
First off, there's some outside looking in.
Okay.
Right. This list could still change because that's.
Can we bet on this or no?
Do
No.
anything you want.
Okay.
You could bet over. You could bet totals.
Okay.
So outside looking in.
Yeah.
Right. That's not my top 5. This didn't make my top 5 list. Again, we're missing imaging here. We could work on that. Tell Nick to do some creative, and we could do imaging, some sound effects.
I'm with you.
My outside looking in, I've got the French dip. Didn't make the top 5.
It didn't make the top
No.
5?
No.
But that's the East Coast again thing, right?
It's true. Yeah.
Is it a big
French dip's
thing on
more
the
of
East Coast? I don't know.
No, I picked it up when I moved out.
Okay.
The banh mi. Don't look at me that way. You better know what that is.
I don't quite know what that one is. Banh mi?
Banh mi.
I don't
From
even want to
Vietnam.
guess what's on it. Sounds like a UFC match.
Chicken parm. Why didn't you mention chicken parm? Is that an East Coast thing too?
Chicken parm, it's not to my liking.
That's why it's my list.
I don't know, in fact, if I've ever even tried a chicken parm
I don't.
sandwich.
Randy, you take that back.
I do not think I have.
You haven't tried
And you
chicken
can
parm
tell
sandwich.
I eat healthy. Or
Have you had
unhealthy.
chicken parm? Chicken parmesan.
I've had chicken parmesan.
But you haven't taken it and put it between two
No.
pieces of bread.
I'm sorry I missed that one.
What are we doing?
Is this an East Coast thing? I don't know.
My top 5 list now.
Okay.
A bagel with cream cheese and lox.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Again, it has a little bit of that ocean coming in, but I like it. I like it.
The torta ahogada.
Okay. I'm Italian. Is it Italian?
It's from Guadalajara.
Seriously.
Yes, it is.
Well,
And
I'm really sorry I
it's
missed that one.
drowned just this incredible sauce. It's pork carnitas.
Okay. Sounds good.
Lobster roll. Don't care where.
I like the lobster
Could be
roll.
New England.
But again, it had to have that little New England twist. I know.
No, you're right.
coming
I
from
don't care whether it's cold or hot.
Okay.
It's number 3.
Okay.
Number 2. The Reuben. So we match.
Okay.
We don't have to talk about that anymore.
Yeah.
The Reuben's the Reuben. My number 1 favorite sandwich of all time is the Croak Madame.
Rob, you're talking some big language here, words I haven't even heard. What type of sandwich is that? Again, that sounds like a movie.
The Croak Madame.
Sounds like a movie.
This is a ham and cheese sandwich, but
Wow.
elevated. It's so good. Mornay sauce over the top.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me write this. So Croak,
Croak Madame. So I want to see how you spell croak.
Croak. No? Okay. I know.
Madame.
There's a little French thing. So
Q-U-E.
Yeah, okay. Oh, Q.
Croak. Yeah. Croak.
Wow.
Croque.
Okay, sounds good. And Madame, you kind of seen that, right? And you have the little hyphen with the...
I didn't say anything about a hyphen. We're talking about my favorite sandwich. You're mocking me right now.
I can't even know. I can't pronounce it if I can't spell it.
It's a ham and cheese sandwich.
I like
Mornay sauce over the top with a fried egg. Soft.
Soft.
Right. So when you cut, and you don't eat this with your hands. You can't be a barbarian. You go in there with a knife and fork. And you cut it open, and the egg yolk comes out.
Can you bring those in to work so we try
You
some?
can't find it here. You have to travel to get it. That's
Well,
why
can
it's my
you-
number 1 sandwich.
Can you ship it in so we can have it next week? I like it.
I love you.
Oh, how we get on that subject.
Anyways, that was quite the diversion.
Well, and while you're going with sandwich and putting everything on it so you get an upset stomach at the end of the day, or you get really full because you just keep
Well,
eating.
these are
keep
brunch
eating.
items.
Yeah. Talk about the Broncos and Bears both at 0-3.
That makes me
Can you-
upset right now.
You're going to get your fill in this game. And you're going to get your fill of something I don't know. Because are the Bears, the Broncos just gave up 70 points.
70.
Yes.
Not in 3 weeks.
And Chicago, I took 2 quarters. They got people running the wrong direction on plays. Now, they went through camp, OTAs, and they got guys going the wrong direction on plays. I want to know what they're doing at practice. There's a lot of card games and stuff going on in that locker room. But this is a game you can get your fill on.
Okay. So, Denver, 3, minus 120, on the road, in a game that I thought would have came pick. And Chicago has to cover this game.
Well, Randy White likes to bet every game on every Sunday. I'm not touching this one.
Randy, I'm going to tell you something. I know you do this often.
I do.
But the next time you call yourself out in the third person, I'm finding you $1.
Well, I had
And
to.
I will
I
track
had
this.
to do that because I do. I tend to bet every single game, but I can tell you one thing right now: this
What?
game scares me. Scares me. I think I could go out, and I can't run as quick as Justin Fields, but I know I can go out and hit a quick out, a 15-yard out. I know I can get it there.
You're taking, or are you laying?
I got to go with the Broncos just from the standpoint. I think they were embarrassed, and I think they will come out with a little passion and heart.
I think that if Denver doesn't come away with a victory here, everything Sean Payton has brought to the table has to stop,
Well,
which is insane to think because everyone thought that this would have been, I wouldn't say 3-0, but at the very least, 1 win, maybe 2.
And here's the thing that bothers me the most when you talk about this team. Just a few short years ago, Russell Wilson with the Seahawks. Wasn't he being billed as a Hall of Fame potential type quarterback? Cannon arm, mobile, smart. Yeah. What happened?
I can surmise a couple of guesses. Well,
he's
not in Seattle anymore, but Seattle didn't want him, so something happened there during the COVID years.
And I shouldn't say this. I didn't notice it so much with Seattle, but he's got happy feet. And you and I have talked about this before as a quarterback, and again, somebody that's coached on the offensive side of the ball, not to this level. I mean, he's got happy feet back there. He's scared.
I don't know. I think he's lost something, right? Look, go back when he was at NC State, then to Wisconsin, and then to Seattle. He's an athlete. The guy had everything at his disposal. It's just
if I'd have had the offensive line that those two schools had, I could have been a star.
And that's the thing. But if you look back, this Seattle-Denver trade could go down as one of the worst trades in the history of the league.
Well, like you say, you look at the ownership side, putting Payton in there as a coach. This whole team is – and then they had a little scuttlebutt at the beginning of the season, preseason, talking about Payton. Yeah. And so this game right here, I don't know if – you might get your fill of it real quick in the first quarter.
Might get my fill within the first 2 minutes.
And then the other great game. And this is a game where I do believe that Cousins and the Vikings bounce back. They're a better team than what they're playing.
Yes.
You talk about injuries with the Ravens. Minnesota was very banged up last week.
Right.
And they can score points, but it's that old tradition. We just got to outscore the opponent, and they haven't been able to do that on the defensive side. So
that's actually the last game I wanted to talk about, so thanks for hitting on that. Minnesota must be, this season, the greatest 0-3 team I've ever seen in my life, of all time, right? So we opened up this game 4. It's still 4, total up to 46.5. Carolina, look, no one really expected much out of them. Now there's injuries everywhere, but specifically with Carolina. So we saw Andy Dalton at quarterback already. He seems to have probably found a couple of favorite targets.
Isn't he like 71 years old?
He is 710 years old. So the problem is not so much of what they can do offensively. We know, Randy, I really don't think that Carolina is going to come within 20 points. That's what the problem is. I think if you're going to hang with Minnesota, at home or on the road, you got to click over 24.
The Panthers are starting who at quarterback since Bryce definitely is not playing this week, right?
No, I think it's going to be Andy Dalton again.
So they are going to start Dalton.
No, it's the way it plays itself out. I don't know.
Because
Randy,
he really didn't move the team last week.
No.
So when you go to the camp, when the practices this week, and you look at, and the Panthers do have a decent defense. They do have a decent defense.
But look,
Randy, if you can only score 12 or 13 points a game, you're not going to be competitive, especially in this game where you got to believe the Vikings are going to be 27 to 30 points.
So that's it, right? Yeah. And thank you for breaking it down that way. And so I just pulled up right now. It does look like Bryce Young. He says he's upgraded to probable, which tells me they'd rather start him.
Yeah,
if you're 0-3 already, right? So just let's not try and hide exactly what you're going to be. You're building this team around him. So
there's going to be a preliminary game to the main game in Carolina of the seniors. It's going to be the alumni. Dalton can play in that one and probably compete 2 passes.
Oh, Randy. This was fun. Thank you so much for joining us again today, Randy.
Well, thank you. And, it's great. Remember this. If you're going past history, Rob, week number 4 has a lot of blowouts. Look it up. If you go back the last 7 years, week number 4 tends to have some games that you say, wow, or some upsets. Now, you had a lot of upsets this last week. Will week 3 take the place of 4? But I do see on paper, some blowouts this week.
Okay. Randy said it right there, everybody. I think that we'll just go ahead and bookmark this right now. You did say Dallas.
I did.
You did say, San Francisco.
Yes, and I did say Jacksonville this week, even though they're playing in another country.
Good luck, Randy.
Good luck.
Thanks so much for joining us today. See you again next time.
Thank you for listening to the Bookie and the Bettor Show. New episodes post every Thursday on your favorite streaming service.